Clutch Sports Talk. Let's go. Good morning, everyone. What's up? How you guys doing? It's me, your boy Ryan Flowers, aka Clutch Sports Talk, back in the house with another edition today of NFL Sunday Wake Up with me, man. Hey, glad to be back. I had to take last week off. When you got two kids that compete at a high level in athletics, especially around 3-day weekends and holidays, they always got some tournaments going on. So I just didn't have time to get on live last week, but I'm back today with a great episode as usual. We got a couple topics, and hopefully we'll get Barry Grant Jr. in here at some point to join the show from the All Even podcast. But nonetheless, we're going to keep rolling. Today, we're going to be talking about coaches that should be worried about their quarterbacks, and I'll share my thoughts on that in just a second. Where to next for DeAndre Hopkins, the highly talented free agent formerly from the Arizona Cardinals. What team's going to go to next? I have some thoughts on that. There's some front runners out there. Minnesota Vikings and Dalvin Cook. What are they going to do with him? You know, he wants a lot of money. Is he worth the hassle? Is he worth the trouble? We'll talk about that with Barry. And finally, Le'Veon Bell, high level of play. He explains on a recent interview that he played, you know, he would smoke one or toke it up real quick before the game. So that's going to be interesting and fun as usual. But hey, that's all we got. But listen, hey, sit back and relax and enjoy the show. This is Clutch Sports Talk, NFL Sunday Wake Up with me, Ryan Flowers. Let's go. And good morning. Welcome back in, everyone. Hope you guys are doing okay. Sorry, my stupid Chromecast thing starts talking anyway. But anyway, nonetheless, welcome to the show. Back again, like I said, last week, I was out last week. I had some things I had to take care of. But make sure if you haven't followed the channel, if you're watching right now for the first time here on YouTube, on the Grid Network, or whether it's on my YouTube, make sure you like, share, and comment. We appreciate that. Without further ado, though, I want to introduce, I haven't had a guest in a long time. I don't know why I haven't. I just never thought about it, but I guess I should because I got plenty of guys out there that I can get on this show. But I want to introduce the host and the co-founder of the Grid Network, Mr. Barry Grant Jr. Let me get him in here real quick. Let's see here. And there he is. What's up, sir? How you doing, man?
Can you hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you loud and clear.
Okay, great.
What's up with you, man?
Nothing. Just here.
Well, thanks for coming on, man, this morning. I know you're a busy dude, but I wanted to, dive into these topics with you today. So
yes, sir.
We got some comments already in here. We got CJ Smooth. He said, let's go, bro. Appreciate that. Of course, my guy, Patrick Brown. He says, good morning, Ryan. Happy Sunday. My favorite NFL podcast to watch and listen, supporting my fellow Grid teammates' content. Appreciate that. And CJ Smooth, he's back. I don't know if that's supposed to be yes, sir, or yeah. I don't know, but appreciate it. All right. Thanks, my guy. And then finally, he says facts. All right, man. Appreciate it. So I want us to start today's show off by talking about some coaches and some quarterbacks. Obviously, the season's coming up soon. A bunch of quarterbacks. We got some people that change. There's some questions about some of these quarterbacks. And my question to you, Barry, can you think of any coaches right now that should be possibly concerned with their number one starting quarterback at this point?
Kyle Shanahan.
Yeah, that's a good point. That's a good point. And I'm glad you brought that up because really, who is going to be their quarterback?
Well, I mean, I think if you look at it right now, you have to peg Sam Darnold for the job, right? Because he's the most ready for the job. Trey Lance is coming off injury, and did he look good before the injury? Not really. No. Obviously, it takes time for a quarterback to be able to learn and get comfortable. And I'm sure as the season would have probably progressed, he would have probably gotten better, right? But I think you have to look at the 49ers. They have a great defense. They have a great coach. They have a great philosophy over there. If Sam Darnold can be able to be less turnover prone, I think that they can be able to go very far with him. I mean, listen, look what they did with Jimmy G. And Jimmy G was, he was somebody that kind of struggled with turnovers as well. Right. So, if they can be able to get Jimmy G-esque type of production out of him and maybe a little better than that, then sky's the limit. But Sam Darnold's a big question mark.
No, I agree. And sticking in the NFC West, I think Kyler Murray and the Arizona Cardinals and their new head coach,
Yeah.
I think should have some cause for concern. You got a diva-ish type quarterback, right? Who's coming off a major knee injury, probably be out the probably first, I don't know, 5 to 8 weeks. I'm assuming the NFL season. I don't know who their backup is at this point, but moving forward with Kyler Murray, that should be a cause for concern. You let DeAndre Hopkins go, your number one target. Now, where do the Cardinals go with Kyler Murray? What are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, but I think this can be a clean slate for the Arizona Cardinals, right? So they bring in a new head coach, they get rid of D Hop. Hopefully they can get Kyler Murray to mature a bit, understand what's in front of him, and kind of erase all of the bad taste that everybody has over these last few years. So this can be a clean slate for him because he is talented. He's a talented guy.
Right.
He tends to wear down towards the middle and the end of the seasons, in his career because of his height. So what he has to do is he has to probably do a little bit more homework or whatever and find out how he can be able to sustain his play long term instead of just for 7 or 8 games a season.
No, I agree. And transitioning over to our division, we're both Cowboys fans here. I think another team and a coach that probably should be concerned is Ron Rivera with the Washington Commanders. I mean, Sam Howell is slated to be the starter. I know they picked up Jacoby Brissett, but let's be real. I mean, if they don't have a good year, Ron Rivera is out. So if I'm him, I would definitely be concerned. Not saying Sam Howell is complete garbage. He had his moments last year, but is he a true number one guy? What are your thoughts on him?
Yeah, I mean, the book is still out on Sam Howell. He does have the poise to be a good quarterback, but you have to see it. You can be able to talk all you want about the metrics and how a guy looks and his intangibles or tangibles, but you have to see it on the field, and we have to see it for a full season and then some. You know what I mean?
No.
So, and also too, it's the Commanders. Like if they don't have any quarterback problems, then it's not really the Commanders,
right?
So
because they haven't had. When was the last time they had RG3?
Yeah,
there was some. He had his issues there too with the Shanahans and his injuries, and so
you could say you could say Kirk Cousins. He was pretty solid
Kirk
for them
Cousins,
for a few seasons as well. So it's that's kind of par for the course for that franchise right now. You know what I mean?
Right,
so, but it's I am not so down on them or Sam Howell as much as I am with other guys that have been like proven to be failures, right? So you're like Sam Darnold has failed in 2 situations that he's been. So it's like, okay, he's getting another opportunity somewhere else. It's like, you know what I mean? So Sam Howell, it's still, the book is out. He's still young, still be able to progress.
Second year, I believe. Second season, going into his 3rd year, if I'm not mistaken. So
yeah.
And, I mean, not to completely bash on the Commanders, which I rightfully could do, but they got some decent talent on the offensive side. Like, it's not like they're just their cupboard is bare there. You got Scary Terry over there. They got the other kid out of TCU. They drafted a couple years ago. So they got guys there, and then hopefully Eric Bieniemy can bring some creativity to that offense. So Ron Rivera, really, this is a put up or shut up year, and I know he's got to be sitting at home and like, all right, Sam, man, like, because we didn't go after Lamar. Obviously, a lot of teams didn't because of the asking price for him, but they're putting it all under Sam Howell. And I mean, let's just be real, Jacoby Brissett is not the answer there. Obviously, he's just a veteran backup. So
and very solid one too.
He is. No, I mean, granted, I mean, he's one of those guys like a Josh McCown. He's a solid backup. He'll go from one team to the other team. He'll fill a need and he'll move on if they don't need him or whatever the case may be. So we'll see. And speaking of Brissett and one of his former teams, another team I want to post to you and another coach is Bill Belichick, right? So I know you're a fan of Mac Daddy Jones and McCorkle, and I get it. He had some flashes of great, greatness at some point, but now we're starting to see some of it coming unraveling. It's unraveling right in front of us, and I get it. Last year was a throwaway season. He had like 2 or 3 offensive coordinators between what was the guy's name, Joe Judge, and what was the other guy,
Matt Patricia,
and they're both gone, right? So Bill Belichick, he's looking at another year of not making the playoffs while his former quarterback has left, won a Super Bowl, now is finally retired. We hope, we think, right? Do you think Bill Belichick should be concerned about his quarterback right now?
I think Bill Belichick should be more concerned about his leadership than he should worry about Mac Jones, because Mac Jones, the power struggle, it's documented, right? That Mac Jones was extremely dissatisfied and angry about what was going on last season, and he sought consultation or insight outside of the organization, and told a lot of stuff that wasn't very that Bill wasn't very happy about. But can you blame the kid? Because it's like, okay, you got to think about a quarterback's future, right? Quarterback has at least 3 years to figure it out until he's listed as damaged goods, or he's not good, or whatever it is. Mac Jones is looking at it like, you're not going to do that to me. Like, you know what I mean? Like, you're not gonna, like, you seriously, like, you're not gonna sacrifice or sabotage my career because you don't know how to pick assistant coaches. You don't have an offensive system. You don't understand how to pick offensive talent. It has nothing to do with me. You know what I mean? So I don't think that necessarily they have a quarterback problem. I think they have a management problem.
So let me ask you this: you think Robert Kraft moves off Bill Belichick, or you think he just bows out graciously?
Robert Kraft is a very loyal guy.
He is.
And for a head coach like Bill Belichick to be as decorated as he is, I don't know if that's going to be a decision that Robert Kraft makes anytime soon, right? But it may be a point where he might have to, right? Like, it's very hard to move on from a Hall of Fame head coach.
Yeah, no, absolutely.
You've seen it in the history of football that it tends to get very ugly, right? So but I think that their relationship is very good. So I think that Robert Kraft is going to try to give Bill as much chance as possible to be able to try to fix it. But I think what he needs to do is kind of intervene a little bit.
Yeah.
And maybe have a say in regards to who gets hired as the offensive coordinator or something like that. Get a young mind in there and get somebody that can be able to really facilitate and help that offense grow. Bill, you can continue to be the defensive guru that you are, but you're not a great strategist offensively. It's just
he's not. We haven't seen it. We haven't seen it since Tom Brady.
It's just not in his DNA, and that's okay to admit. And that's the thing with him, is that he's a stubborn old man that doesn't like to admit when in certain situations where he lacks, and that's the problem. And everybody else is going to suffer for it. And a guy like Mac Jones is not going to stand for it. So that's what you're seeing right now, is that you're seeing that power struggle.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Mac Jones, is he gonna wow you? Obviously, I don't think he's like that guy. I don't think he's terrible either. But like you said, he's not set up for success right now. They haven't drafted anyone worth a damn on the offensive side of things. You bring in a guy like Juju Smith-Schuster, who the Chiefs were like, hey, you can have him, we don't care. And you let one of your better players go, Jacoby Myers. He's here now in Las Vegas. And you're right. The thing with Bill Belichick is that he's so great, like you said. It kind of hampers the team, because he's like, well, listen, I won multiple Super Bowls with this same strategy, with this same setup. No one's going to tell me that I'm wrong. And you're right. I think Robert Kraft eventually is going to have to step in. That's going to be an interesting dynamic and see what happens, because they're in a tough division this year. The Dolphins, the Jets, the Bills, these are all playoff contention type teams. Where do the Patriots stack up, right? I mean, if I had to, off the top of my head right now, I'd probably pick them fourth right now.
I mean, that's a fair assessment. I mean, they're definitely looking like the fourth best team in that division. Absolutely.
Right. And I know they can split with the Jets and maybe steal one from the Dolphins, something like that. But overall, they're because of their offensive or lack of offensive firepower, because you look at the rest of those teams in that division, I mean, they're loaded. They're loaded offensively. So, I don't know. And, sticking with the AFC East, I think this is another interesting coach quarterback dynamic. And some people might, think it's kind of weird that I'm bringing this up, but Aaron Rodgers and Robert Saleh, I mean, you got a defensive head coach in his third year. I think this is his third year going into the Jets. Yeah, I think this is his third season. You got a quarterback like Aaron Rodgers, who it's all well documented, his exploits and how he kind of goes and handles things. Does Robert Saleh need to be concerned? Because he's never, number one, he's the head coach, but he's kind of like not not a throwaway head coach. I want to give him some respect, but he hasn't. To me personally, I don't think he's established himself as like that guy that can maybe rein in Aaron Rodgers, or do you even try to rein in Aaron Rodgers and you just let Aaron Rodgers be? We can see we know that can go either two ways, right? So, what are your thoughts on him?
Well, I think Robert Saleh last season showed his defensive abilities with this team. That Jets team was really good last year. Defensively, they ran the football well. Quarterback play is what really stopped them from getting into the playoffs. If they had just a decent quarterback, not even a good or great or elite, just a decent quarterback, they get into the playoffs. So those are good things for the Jets to be able to build on. I think he's a great personality. He commands a room well. If you hear him in press conferences, sounds like a head coach, thinks like a head coach, talks like a head coach. I think with the dynamic between him and Aaron Rodgers, I think, what you said is kind of accurate. Just kind of let Aaron be, because Aaron's relationship with Green Bay and the general manager soured. A lot of people have to understand that when you don't want to be somewhere or you don't want to work with somebody anymore, you tend to kind of mail it in. And I think Aaron Rodgers over the last few seasons mentally has mailed it in Green Bay. So you're going to, you see him in New York. He's going to concerts. He's engaging with the media. Like, that's not something that we're used to seeing with Aaron Rodgers, right? So it's a fresh start for him as well. So I think people obviously baggage comes with you, and people are always going to think about, hey, what does he do and all of this. But I think that you're going to see a different Aaron Rodgers. I think that partnership is going to be really good, and I don't think that there's much concern for Robert Saleh to be able to figure out, because he's thinking about it like, okay, my team was really good last year, and I had a shitty quarterback situation. Now I have a better quarterback situation. We're definitely going to get to the playoffs. Now, obviously, the expectation for the Jets is not just playoffs. We want to have a deep run. So we'll see how it goes. But I think in regards to pressure or comfortability, I think for Saleh and Aaron Rodgers, I think they're solid. I think they're fine.
Yes, and you brought up a good point with the level of expectation. My thing with Robert Saleh is if they don't start well, and their schedule is brutal.
It's tough.
Is to begin the season. You drop a couple games early. You're still a young head coach. You still have a young team that can be, what's the word? They're impressionable. And Aaron Rodgers comes in that locker room. He starts spouting off at the mouth or says things. He's a passive aggressive kind of guy. He's very coy, says things using the media. I think for me, that would be my fear if I'm Robert Saleh. Like, how do I get a hold of that? If it doesn't work out the way, because listen, everyone thinks the Jets are going to make a big run. I mean, maybe myself included. I think they can handle that schedule early on because they have Aaron Rodgers and that defense is so good. But I'm just thinking if it doesn't, that's going to be a story that we all want to watch because it's going to be like a soap opera, I think personally. And so how does Robert Saleh handle that? And I guess, for him, he's got a good experience. He coached under Kyle Shanahan and they've been in big games. They've been in big situations, but Aaron Rodgers he's not Jimmy Garoppolo. Obviously he's a first ballot Hall of Famer, at least in my opinion, one of the best to ever do it. Yep. And so for me, that would be a cause for concern. But everything that you said was spot on. I think you do have to let Aaron Rodgers be Aaron Rodgers a little bit because that's part of the mystique. That's part of the bravado. That's what makes him, that what makes him tick. So, you don't want to impede that because that's part of the artistic process when it comes to Aaron Rodgers. So, and speaking of what's the last team I'll talk about, and it's his Aaron Rodgers' former team, right? So Matt LaFleur, we don't know what is he good? Is he not good? I don't know. Well, I guess we're about to find out. So he's got a new quarterback. Jordan Love's been sitting in the cupboard for a couple seasons now. Do you think LaFleur should be concerned with a guy that we haven't really seen much of Jordan Love? I mean, other than that Chiefs game, which that's a tough situation. I'm not gonna count that against the young man because you're going on the road in Arrowhead. They put his mom in like the nosebleeds, so mom couldn't even see him play really without the binoculars. So, which I thought that's kind of messed up, man. Like, come on, Jordan Love, you've been in the league a couple years now. I know you got some cheese, man. You can't go on SeatGeek or and I'm not sponsored by any of these places, but StubHub or anything like that. You can't get your mom a decent seat. But anyway, nonetheless, Matt LaFleur, Jordan Love, he's taking over. I mean, from what I'm hearing, the guys love him. Aaron Jones loves him. They think he's the guy. The last time I heard people talk like this was when Patrick Mahomes was taking over for Kansas. Now, I'm not saying he's going to be Patrick Mahomes, but the scuttlebutt around, Green Bay is that this guy might be legit. What are your thoughts?
Yeah, I'm hearing the same thing too. They're saying that, he has flashes of like Russell Wilson,
right,
Patrick Mahomes type ability, and it could be all cap, but we'll see. But the thing is, it's yeah, there you go.
Uh-oh.
Did it fall?
There you go. Yeah, this is live TV, everybody.
Exactly, live TV. So it's I'm hearing good things about him, and the thing is with LaFleur, he's had success in Green Bay, so his seat is not hot at all. I think the organization is going to allow him to see how he develops Jordan Love and how that's going to play out, because they have high expectations for the kid. I think if they didn't, you would hear a lot more concern out of Green Bay, but you're not really hearing anything. I think
I agree.
They've been planning for this day for quite a while now.
A couple years now, I think.
Yeah, exactly. So it's one of those things where it's like, I'm just excited to see it, to see how he plays and see how he commands that locker room and that huddle, and see if he's really, ready for the big time. I think, I'm not too high on LaFleur as a head coach. He's not terrible.
Yeah,
but he's not somebody that I think is elite. But he's a guy that can be able to be a solid head coach, right? He can get you to the playoffs. He can, you've seen them make deep runs.
Yeah, they won a lot of games.
Yeah, he won a lot of games. So I mean, the resume speaks for itself. You can't really say too much about the guy. And Green Bay is going to give him a chance with Jordan Love, like I said, and see how it works.
I agree, and I think what. The Packers are going to be okay. I know everyone's loving Detroit, which, I mean, I'm sipping on the Kool-Aid with Detroit a little bit. I get it. But the Packers have that pedigree. They got players in that locker room that have won a lot of football games, right? And their offensive line is still good. One of the better offensive lines in the league still. You have two great running backs between Aaron Jones and what's the other guy, Dylan. I think they're going to run the football, and they're going to take the pressure off Jordan Love a little bit, maybe early on, and see what happens. But I am excited to see this kid play. I got to see him a couple times playing Utah State. They were part of the Mountain West. So I live in Mountain West country here in Las Vegas. So I got to see him play, up and down kind of guy. But when he was on, he was on. So I think I agree. Matt LaFleur, we're going to see now if he can coach, because you're not going to have Aaron Rodgers to sometimes bail you out of certain things. You're going to have to be very technical, scheme up a lot of different things.
And also too,
go ahead.
Not to cut you off, but also too, it's one of those things where I think he's now going to be excited more. You may see more, you may see more creativity out of Matt LaFleur this year, because he's so engaged and so excited about having a young quarterback with fresh legs and young legs, and the possibilities are endless in regards to his ceiling. So I think you might see a little bit more different enthusiasm on the sidelines from the floor.
Yeah, you're right. That's an excellent point, because maybe there's some things he wants to try, but Aaron Rodgers might be like, nah, man, I've been in the league, God knows how long. I'm not doing that.
Right.
Where Jordan Love, he's, again, more impressionable. He's a young kid in the league, right? He might be like, okay, coach, yeah, I got you. Let's do it. Where Aaron Rodgers is like, nah, I'm not doing that. I'm not doing that. So, all right, man. So, those are some quarterbacks and some coaches that, in my mind, we think that have some concerns, obviously, going into this NFL season. There's probably some other teams out there, but those are the ones that we talked about. So it is what it is. Let's get to some comments real quick. Patrick says Niners have to make a decision with Trey Lance after the season, with them giving up a lot to draft him in 2021. It's a hot topic. It is. I think they're just holding on to him to see, if they can maybe trade him away. I think at some point, I don't know if he'll ever get the chance in San Francisco there. Patrick again says last franchise quarterback for Washington was Mark Rippon. Damn, that's a long time ago. I remember watching them win that Super Bowl against the Bills. I remember that. Damn, that's a long time ago. Yeah. Patrick is killing the comment section. He says Patriots hired Bill O'Brien to be the offensive coordinator. The Alabama connections should help Mac Jones but in a division where all the teams are stronger. Yeah, Bill O'Brien, I think, should be a good addition for the Patriots. Obviously, there's that connection there with Alabama, but we'll have to wait and see. And then Parnell from Sports PSP says, should the Raiders get Brady?
They already have Brady.
They have him. But I did read yesterday that if technically there's some type of legality where he can play for them, even having a stake in ownership. So
it's like Jordan.
Yeah. Oh, right. Exactly. It's just like that. So that's
people are always going to do this to Tom Brady, and it's unfortunate because the guy just can't retire in peace. Right. I think that he's good. I think he's done.
I think he's done.
There's no reason for him to keep playing. What I mean? It's I think we as a society just have to get used to not seeing Tom Brady behind center.
Yeah.
If he's around football, they're gonna be like, well, is he gonna play? No, he's fucking retired. Okay. Let the man just retire. It's a nothing story that somebody wrote, and it's just like, okay, this is probably what saved your job for 2 weeks. Why you wrote a story like this? It doesn't really make sense. The guy's retired. Let him be retired.
He's done.
Yeah,
I don't think he's coming back. I really don't. And not with the Raiders, at least, So that's a mess of a situation. Patrick again says Jordan Love has won the locker room. I think we all can agree to that. To hear Aaron Jones speak highly of him says a lot. We shall see what Green Bay does in the division where Detroit is likely the best team in that wide open division. Yeah, I like the Detroit Lions, but they haven't won anything yet. I think
I still need to see it.
Yeah, me too. We saw glimpses of it last year. I know they beat the Packers in the season finale. Yeah. But to do it to do that consistently throughout the year, that's a whole nother monster where we know Green Bay is capable of doing that. Now, I'm not saying the Detroit Lions, they suck. They made strides. I mean, they're very exciting to watch. Mm-hmm. The defense needs to improve. So I'm not willing to really just give them the division yet.
Right.
So I gotta see some things, right?
Football is a funny sport, man.
It is, man. It's up and down. Kicks and Sticks, this is my guy. He says, first off, go Birds. Great, but great pod. Yeah, get that Eagles talk out of here. We don't do the Eagles. But check out his stuff. He does sneakers and video gaming. So check him out. He just started. Trying to help him out here. And then Parnell's back again. He says the team I'm intrigued to see is Houston with their new head coach, QB, and more. I thought about bringing them up, but listen, really, realistically, we don't know what CJ Stroud is going to do. So that whole segment was just to see about veteran quarterbacks.
Right, exactly. Coaches. Rookie quarterbacks and rookie coaches. Yeah. I mean, that you have to give them time to develop. Right. So it really doesn't make sense to talk about them.
Right. But, I see where you're going with that, Parnell. I appreciate it. And Parnell finally asked, I have Burrow winning MVP. Me too. I like Burrow. Everyone knows my exploits about Burrows. That's my quarterback, one of my favorite quarterbacks. So, and then Kicks and Sticks, yeah, he's laughing at the Eagle stuff. So we're gonna block him soon here because we're not with that now. But check him out. All right, this topic I really want to talk to you about. DeAndre Hopkins was released by the Arizona Cardinals. Now, a lot was said before him being released. We didn't know if he was going to be traded. What was going to happen. I think finally the Arizona Cardinals. I think what did it really is that he went on, was it I Am Athlete, I believe, and he was talking about Kyler Murray, and he kind of put his foot in his mouth, and he tried to back out of it. And I think along with that, he just didn't want to be in Arizona anymore. So the Cardinals end up releasing the guy. I think he was supposed to make like $19 million this year, give or take, I think. Now he's gone. He's released. He's not a Cardinal anymore. He missed what at least 8 games last year, if I'm not mistaken, due to that the sports performance suspension, whatever. And then he was injured the year before.
Mm-hmm.
Barry Grant from the All Even podcast. My question to you, sir: if you're a team that needs a wide receiver, a number one wide receiver per se, because I think a lot of people think DeAndre Hopkins is still a number one guy. Do you think he's still a number one guy? Number two, and do you think he's worth the money and possibly the hassle?
All 3 answers, yes.
Okay.
Yes. This is a guy that he is, I call him quarterback proof.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter who's throwing the football, he's going to catch it. It doesn't matter who's behind center, he's going to find a way to get open.
It's true.
And if you put that guy in a situation where he can be able to compete for a Super Bowl, get up and get into the play. Think about all the teams that he's ever been on. He hasn't really had a chance to be on a great team to show it on the grandest stages. It really hasn't. You know what I mean? So it's like, you know, I would love to see him in Buffalo, but I don't know if that's going to be a situation that pans out. I'd love to see him in Kansas City. I don't know if that's going to pan out. I would love to see him in Baltimore on the other side of OBJ. Yeah. That would be nice. And Zay Flowers and all those guys over there. So, you know, it's
and I think those are the top 3 teams right now. If I looked at the last odds, it was like Buffalo, Kansas City, and Baltimore. Those were the top 3 teams to possibly land him.
Yeah. You know, and you know, he just has, you know, worlds of talent, man. When a DeAndre Hopkins is on your team, you have to send at least 2 bodies over there just to check on them, and that's going to open up your offense for your tight end, for your slot receivers, for your other, you know, your other Z route guy, your go route guy. So, you know, he's that guy. And listen, as Cowboys fans that we are, I would love it. Yeah, but Jerry Jones is not spending that type of money.
He's not.
So, you know, unfortunately, that's the situation, but he'll land somewhere. He'll land somewhere where a team is really going to say, you know what, we're DeAndre Hopkins away from being really, really good.
Yeah, no, you're right.
You know, he has representation now. He didn't have an agent for a while.
No, he did not.
Now he has one. You know, so it's he's setting himself up for the last stage of his career, right, where he wants to compete at a high level, not just be on some team and figure it out. Like, obviously, you know, he put out the statement saying, listen, I don't really have a preference to go to play with any quarterback. You know, I play because, like I said, it's quarterback
job.
It doesn't really matter. It doesn't really matter where he goes. But I think for him, for his career with his agent, I'm sure his agent is going to say, listen, you know, we want to put you in the biggest situation or the best situation to succeed.
He's on the back nine. He's on the back nine of his career. He should be focused. He's got his money. I mean, he's made his money. I get it. And I know he wants to garner that $19 million a year.
Yeah.
Whatever. And somebody will maybe give it to him.
Absolutely.
The Buffalo Bills thing is interesting though, because Stephon Diggs hasn't been happy, you know, last couple seasons they've fallen short. If he does decide to go there, if the Bills decide to make that happen, if I'm Stephon Diggs, I don't know how I'd feel about that, because number one, that's more targets being taken away from me. Okay. But then we might win games. So,
I think Diggs, I don't think that Diggs is a me guy. I think he wants to win. Right. Okay. And I think his problem with Josh Allen over the last few seasons, the fact that these erratic turnovers that he's had in the playoffs has cost them games.
Yes.
Right. So you, as a guy that's very passionate, that wants to win, and you understand how good you guys have it and how that window of contention starts to shrink every time you don't capitalize on it. With a DeAndre Hopkins on the team, that would make Diggs a happy man, because it's like, okay, yeah, I may get some targets taken away from me, but I'm also going to get a lot more advantages in regards to matchups.
True.
So, and then it's going to give Josh Allen another target to be able to find and give us a chance to be balanced and dynamic and possibly win more games, right? Go deeper into the playoffs. So I think it kind of serves a lot of masters in that situation where he wants to win. Josh Allen needs more weapons. Josh Allen needs to be a little bit more consistent, and you know, that can kind of, you know, quell all of those problems.
No, I absolutely agree. I think if they don't get it done this year, Stephon Diggs is going to be like, man, like, I got to get up out of here because we're not winning, you know. And the Buffalo Bills situation is interesting. You know, they drafted Dalton Kincaid. Excuse me. You know, so they're looking to add some firepower. The Chiefs situation, I think that'd be a great fit. Obviously, Patrick Mahomes, Andy Reid. You know, they don't have a true number one wide receiver, which for them it doesn't matter because
they want a Super Bowl regardless, right?
It don't matter. You and I can line up at the X and the Z and probably still get it done. You know what I mean? That's how good they are.
Right.
Like you said, the Ravens one, I think that's an interesting one too, because that would definitely help the Ravens solidify. Because I know, I caught a lot of shit from Ravens fans.
Yeah.
But a signing like that would definitely propel them to one of the higher echelon.
Oh, 100%. 100%.
I mean, off 100%. The bat,
mm-hmm.
Because I know OBJ is still serviceable. I'm not going to say he's garbage. He's still serviceable. He proved that in LA, right? And if you you kind of want to set it up to where it was like in LA. When in LA, he wasn't the number one guy. Cooper Kupp was the guy.
Yeah.
Cooper Kupp kind of, he was the young guy, OBJ kind of lived off of not the scraps. I don't want to say that because he's a great player, but you guys know what I mean, right?
Yeah.
I think right now in Baltimore, he's going to be asked to be the number one guy. I think, Zay Flowers is a young guy. You got, who else is over there?
Still got Rashad Bateman over there.
Rashad Bateman, who's still like, he's still kind of filling out himself a little bit. Where
they got the rookie, they just drafted.
Right. Exactly. So OBJ is the most polished, the tenured veteran receiver that they got. I mean, I think that's fair to say. And if you add D-Hop in that mix and Lamar Jackson, the way their offense, that's going to be a tough out.
Oh yeah.
Either way, tough out as long as they can stay healthy. So Ravens fans, don't get at me again because I'm always talking about your quarterback. But health is a big thing, even for D-Hop too, because you know what?
Yeah.
He missed some time.
Yeah, he's been banged up over the last few years. So, absolutely. Yeah. And also another dark horse team that I have as well, Ryan, before we move on, I guess, is
sure.
I think the Giants should take a snag.
Oh.
I think the New York Giants would be a perfect fit for DeAndre Hopkins.
You know what? I'm not even mad at that. I mean, I should be mad, but when you think about it, look, their wide receiving core, they're not great, but they're solid. Like they got a bunch of number 2s, 3s kind of guy. With like Darius Slayton, Sterling Shepard. God bless him. Hopefully he can stay healthy. I don't like to see someone get hurt all the time. But you're right. That's actually not a bad pickup. Another dark horse team, and maybe it might be super dark. I like the Pittsburgh Steelers, man. I don't know. You got a young quarterback, Kenny Pickett. George Pickens, Deontay Johnson. You add D-Hop there. It gives them like that true number one wide receiver. But I mean, listen, any team he goes to, he automatically makes them credible.
Yeah.
Hold on. Let's see. Your boy, your favorite guy here. He says, coming from a Dallas fan, Barry, get the hell out of here.
From what? About what?
I guess he's talking about the Giants and D-Hop.
Oh, I mean, listen, like I said, it's very plausible, but
it is. I think it is.
Jerry's cheap. I'm not being biased here. If I was, I would just say Dallas is the best fit.
Exactly. And I like to say we are both objective. So, and he says Barry wants D-Hop in New York, shaking my head. No, I don't think he said he wants them. He's just saying that could be a possibility, which is a total difference. So, but
I'm sure he's probably upset that I didn't say Washington. Nobody wants to play in Washington, bro. Nobody wants to play in Washington. Nobody wants to play in a stadium that's falling apart.
Yeah,
nobody wants to do that.
Right. So anyway, that's funny. Patrick says Buffalo were to sign D-Hop, Diggs' mindset would be sacrificing for the better overall team. Yeah, of course.
He wants to win.
He wants to win at this point. I mean, all of them do. All right, P. Parnell says Ryan's objective, very delusional. That's the difference. Oh, you guys. And finally, he says Jerry won't spend that money on D-Hop. We kind of said that. He wants CD to be the number one. I mean, and the thing about Jerry, he don't. The last time he spurged on a wide receiver was what, Roy Williams?
Yeah,
many years ago. Long time ago. He doesn't. This is not the splash that Jerry typically will make.
Well, I mean, think about it too. Terrell Owens was a splash.
That's true.
Yeah, I mean, like, but in regards to like, and also too, I mean, Amari Cooper was a bit of a splash. He gave up a first round pick. So I think Jerry is very tactical with moves that he makes, right? And I think that we've seen, people have judged Jerry, they've criticized Jerry, but when you think about the roster that is assembled, he's put together a pretty good roster. Now, are they going to be viable for a Super Bowl? Maybe not. I don't know. We have to see. But the roster is pretty solid, man. The wide receiver core is pretty solid. We got to see what we're going to get out of our quarterback this year.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, no, you're right. And you think about it, like right now, you have 2 Hall of Famers on the offensive line that they've drafted. Tyron Smith, Zach Martin. I know Travis Frederick. He retired a little sooner, just because of health issues. So technically, they probably have 3 Hall of Famers that they drafted within the last 10, 15 years. Like you said, T.O. played on there. Tony Romo. He kind of could be a fringe Hall of Fame guy, depending on who you talk to. But you're right. Jason Witten's a Hall of Famer. They've definitely drafted some guys, man.
Absolutely.
Like you said, though, they just haven't really been able to schematically put it together. So,
right.
But I mean, trust me, as a Cowboys fan, I would love to see D-Hop because I'm still not sold on the 100%. Cowboys wide receiving core. I like CeeDee Lamb. I thought he had a great season, over 1,000 yards this year. But it's the supporting cast to me that's still kind of up in the air. The Cooks thing. People love Cooks. I get it, but I don't see it,
Cooks is going to be good. The obviously Jalen Tolbert is going to be a factor as well. You got Kevontae Turpin. Those guys, if they can be able to show you something,
they
then now you got something, right?
Yeah.
And so it's about
Michael Gallup can get back to a shell of himself. That would be help. But if you add a guy D-Hop, I mean, that changes the game. That helps Dak even more. Even if Dak doesn't have to play well, D-Hop, his catch rate he's just a great receiver.
Yeah, absolutely.
He'll bail you out.
Absolutely.
Where I feel like CD isn't that kind of guy. Maybe he will be, maybe he won't.
Yeah.
D-Hop is definitely that bailout receiver that you
need. Right. I call D-Hop the stimulus package. That's what he is.
Yes, that's the perfect what you call it. He is a stimulus package. If you was low, you behind on rent a little bit, get that whatever 1,500, whatever it was. Shoot, hey, it definitely helps you out. So yeah, D-Hop is the stimulus package. I'm gonna name that segment that when I do my D-Hop, I'll steal that from you, brother. So all right,
so good.
Moving on. Minnesota has got a decision to make here in the next couple of weeks or days, I would say, with their star running back, Dalvin Cook. Now, he's had some injuries as of late, can't really stay healthy. When he is healthy, he's phenomenal, right? I think we can all agree to that.
Yeah.
But hold on, my dog's moving, so I don't know what he's doing here. He's doing this weird stretching thing. Okay. Where are you going? Okay, he's just changing up. All right. So anyway, nonetheless, the Vikings are in a bit of a predicament. Should they get rid of him? Because you got to think about the future of the franchise, right? I think we've seen that you can run the football without having a star running back. We just watched not the Patriots, the Chiefs just run all over the Eagles with a 7th round draft pick in Pacheco. Now they got the guy behind Dalvin Cook. I believe his name is Madison, if I'm not mistaken.
Alexander Madison.
Yeah, there you go. Alexander Madison. He's had a pretty good season. So if you are the brainchild or the front office of the Minnesota Vikings, are you going to get rid of Dalvin Cook? Or are you gonna hold on to him? What
I think it depends on what their expectations are for Dalvin as well as themselves, right? Like, in this NFL, bro, running backs they're valued, but they're not heavily valued in regards to the top guys. Yeah. That's the problem, is that when you got a dynamic guy like Dalvin Cook and you've, explained it eloquently that he's often injured,
right?
That doesn't help a franchise. They have to look at it like, okay, the best ability is availability. If you're not going to be available for us, then, the fact that we're paying you X amount of money, it's kind of like we're operating in the red, right? Yep. So I think it'd be wise for them to be able to move on from him, because when you got a guy like Madison, the thing is when you have great backup behind you, and you hear my son just jumping up this. When you have a great backup quarterback behind you, a backup running back behind you, it makes your decision much more easier to be able to move on. Like, remember Melvin Gordon and Austin Eckler, right? It's like, okay, Melvin, if you want to go ahead. We have Eckler, so there's no reason for you to kind of try to hold us over a barrel in a negotiation.
Right. No, I
you
feel
can
you.
Walk. So it's kind of like the same situation. They're good with Madison. Madison, every time he's filled in for Dalvin Cook, he's put up phenomenal numbers. He's a very solid running back. He runs hard. He runs violent. He can be able to run on the outside as well as the inside. So, it's one of those things where I think they want to do right by Dalvin. Yeah. And they don't want to cut him. They want to make sure that they hold on to him and try to see if they can facilitate a trade. But if not, I think the best course of action is probably just I don't even know if releasing him is going to be ideal. They might just have to hold on to him, honestly.
No, you're right. And, those are a great analogy with having good backup. It's kind of like if you in a bad relationship, right?
Yeah.
And you got your little, if you had a side piece or if you had a side piece, I don't know. And
it doesn't
actually doing better than the main one. So it's kind of like, I don't really need the main
Exactly. Why do I need that type of headache? You know what I mean? Yeah, you can go. Like, you know what I mean?
Exactly. You know, and for me, I think the Vikings got to think about the future, right? You're gonna have to pay Jettas here shortly. He'd probably be the highest paid player in the NFL outside of quarterback. Right. I think. I mean, he's that valuable to that team. Then you got the young talent like Jordan Addison. Let's just say he produces, right? You're gonna end up paying him later on, and then you got to worry about the quarterback situation. Is Kirk Cousins going to be the guy, or are you going to have to go out later on and maybe go get another quarterback? So you need money. You got to free up space to pay for these things.
Yeah.
And honestly, Dalvin Cook, he's not. Bryson says it the best. He always says that. I always mess up the saying, but like availability is the best. What does he say?
Yeah, availability is the best ability. Like
there you go. Something like that.
You have to be there to be valuable. Yep. If you're not there, then it doesn't really matter.
No, you're exactly right. And Dalvin Cook, unfortunately, he's just not available more often than not. And I think the Vikings going to have to move on. And some Viking fans, you know, I think they want to see him go anyway because they're just tired of it. Like, you turn on the TV, it's like, oh, he's out again. It's like, really?
Yeah.
Like,
I mean, think about it, bro. You know, when you have a great dynamic running back, it's special to watch, right? Yeah. But it's also extremely frustrating to watch when they continuously get hurt and banged up because it's like, man, we need this guy. He's so great when he's on the field.
Right.
But if he's not there, then how great is he? He's not great because he's not helping you.
Yeah, especially if the other guy's doing just as good as he is.
So that's why a lot of teams, you know, they have 2 and 3 running backs now because it's like, listen, if one goes down, we can be able to have two other guys that can be able to shoulder the load rather than having that one factor back, which is great. But you know, when they get hurt, man, it's like a desert behind them. You know what I mean?
No, you're right. And the only team I feel like that still operates like that is the Titans. Like
the Titans. I think the Steelers.
Yeah, that's true. Yep.
Even San Francisco. I mean, whatchamacallit is still the guy. But they have a certain system where they can be able to plug and play other guys and kind of move guys around. So it's listen, the days of Adrian Peterson, those days are gone. You know what I mean? Those factor backs, those days are gone. And I think moving forward for the Vikings, I think Madison should be the guy, and they should be able to have some other younger guys come up as well and fill those voids. That's just the remedy in the NFL now.
I agree. And if you got the right scheme, like I said, Isaiah Pacheco came in.
Yeah.
He did his thing, man. 7th round. I'm not saying every 7th round pick running back you get is going to be a stud. Like, I'm not even saying Pacheco's a stud.
Yeah.
But he's a solid. He complements.
He does good for them.
He does good for them, under that scheme. So let's get some comments. Parnell says, bring Cook to Dallas. Nah, I'm okay. I'm okay on that because he'll be hurt. So I don't need that rubbing off in our locker room. Running back position is a castaway. Teams are very cautious with giving them the front-loaded contracts. Yeah. Case in point, Ezekiel Elliott. He got his money early. Now we don't know where he's gonna be. No one's even knocking on his door for him to play anywhere. Which is
Zeke will get an opportunity. When there's some injury happening on somebody.
Camp starts and things of that nature.
He'll be on somebody's roster by like week 8.
Oh yeah. Patrick also chimes in again, says just like Dallas with Tony Pollard is going to be a running back by committee. TP will be, whereas Rojo will have a role moving the chains. Yeah, I think that's more likely. And I heard a lot of Derrick Henry to Dallas. I'm like, I don't know how I feel about that. I mean, I don't
hate it if they can get it done, but
it's got to be right financially. It's got to be right.
Gotta be right.
And obviously it probably won't because he probably still thinks he's the guy, which. But he's older. He's injury prone too now in his style of running. I mean, that'd be great. Him and TP back there for 1 year, you see, because TP's on a franchise tag. Derrick Henry, I don't know what his contract extent, what it's like, but either way, I guess that's just fantasy football anyway. But but nonetheless, to close this one out, I mean, Vikings, and they're kind of in a tough situation too because you look at that division, they're going to be battling with the Bears, I would say, for the bottom, honestly, which is weird because they do have talent. They got some guys and the coaching is not bad. Their defense let them down last year.
I think the thing with Minnesota, Ryan, is that they are in a transition period where, Kirk Cousins' contract is coming up soon, right? I think this is the last year of his deal, so they have to start thinking about, are we going to extend him, or are we just going to turn it over to some young guy, right? So with that being said, if you're not going to go crazy spending a lot of dollars at your quarterback position, why would you pump a lot of money into your running back position? You just might as well just get completely younger and, get Justin Jefferson a new quarterback to be able to start getting some rapport with, get a new running back in there behind Madison. Like, obviously, Madison is going to ask for some money soon as well. If he has a big season, if they let Dalvin Cook go or they trade him, and Madison has a 1,500-yard season, 2,000 yards plus from scrimmage, he's going to be seeking a big contract as well. So it's like, you have to kind of see how it goes with them. I think they are in a bit of a transition period where there's going to be a lot of decisions made after this season in regards to how they're going to move forward.
No, I agree. I agree, and I wouldn't want to be in their situation right now because it's a lot. Excuse me, it's a lot of
what ifs.
What ifs? There you go. It's a lot of. It's like, well, what if this happens? What if that happens? It's like, oh God, I don't know. So good luck, Minnesota Vikings fans.
Thanks.
All right. Before we get out of here, the last topic I want to talk about, our boy Le'Veon Bell. Listen, I mean, he just was quoted on an interview that he used to toke it. He used to smoke one before each game. Which listen, I don't. Me personally, I don't smoke, but I don't have a problem with it. I know everyone does it. I know people that do. I don't think it's a big of a deal. Guys used to smoke cigarettes during interviews at halftime back in like the 60s and the 70s. And I get cigarettes and weed are two different things, but I guess, but anyway, do you have a problem with him coming out and saying that? Is there an issue?
No, I don't have a problem with him coming out and saying that because it's one of those unwritten or untold things that everybody kind of knew about anyway. Like there's a lot of players, there's a lot of athletes that smoke weed. There's a lot of guys that used to smoke weed before games, after games, or whatever it is in the offseason. So it's like, it's one of those things like, okay, cool, you want to say it now? It's not really a big deal. We kind of knew that, right? Yeah. You kind of know, but, you're waiting for somebody to kind of just, telling themselves, I guess. But, it's just one of those things where
it's well documented.
It's well documented, man. So and that's why a lot of these leagues now, they've kind of like, kind of scaled it back in regards to how they police those things because especially they already knew it was an issue. Like, you know what I mean? So it's just,
And it's funny because we've had other athletes like Ron Artest, or excuse me, Meta World Peace. He was talking about he was drinking Henny, and stuff like that. There's probably some other people too. I mean, Lawrence Taylor used to do coke or whatever. Like, come on, man.
Listen, my favorite sports team of all time, the '86 Mets. Those guys were very special.
Yeah, I mean,
very special.
Oh, and even those '90s Cowboys, all the drug dealing that was going through that locker.
So it's prevalent in sports. I mean, we're just obviously we're talking about like the gamut of stuff that people have been using. But we're just gonna keep it to marijuana. I mean, it's just it's something that's been there that it should have been a very loose policy years ago with this. Right. A lot of people use medical marijuana for recovery. I think medicinal marijuana in regards to concussions and head injuries. I think there's studies on it that it's really, really helpful.
Right.
So for those reasons, I think the NFL kind of like, all right, cool. It's it's just
now one of those things. My thing with that, Le'Veon Bell doesn't seem like the guy that uses it for medicine, and he might. I don't know, but I think he was just smoking because he would want to smoke.
But at the end of the day, it's like for even guys that do it for recreational reasons. I mean, it's still helping them regardless, right? Like if they do have some head injury, they could be able to smoke weed and be fine. You know what I mean? Clear their head for the week.
I mean, to me, I don't have a problem with it. I know a lot of conservatives would.
Yeah. We live some of the old heads that have a problem with it.
Right. It's a different world that we live in now. And certain things that used to be kind of like, ooh, taboo, you don't do.
Right.
It's allowable now. Fact. So me, he's not playing anymore. And I know other guys are doing it. So I think if it was more and coming from him, I think everyone's like, that's not a surprise.
Right. That's what I'm saying. Like coming out, people like, oh, what gave it away? Really?
Yeah, exactly. Now, if it was like Tom Brady or like Patrick Mahomes even coming out, like in his little Kermit the Frog voice, like, yeah, man, I toke up. Then, yeah, we'd be like, well, I think that'd be a bigger headline, right?
Yeah.
But
yeah,
Le'Veon, we all know he was crazy anyway, so
right.
it's a Le'Veon type of thing. So even with Ron Artest, when he said he was drinking, like, oh, we probably expect you to do that. Like, you're Ron Artest, you change your name to Meta World Peace. So I don't have a problem with it, and I don't think really people should. It's really a non-issue.
Yeah, it is.
But the way social media works, you see these comments on everything. Everyone's got something to say, and it can be a little bit annoying. But I just wanted to talk about that today because I just think that it got a lot of fire. People were upset about it, and I'm like, again, and I don't even smoke. I don't partake in that. And again, I don't even look down on people who do. It is what it is. To each his own. So he decided that got him ready to play. Now, could you argue is it a sports enhancement drug? I don't think so. I mean,
nah,
I don't think so.
Man.
I mean, I make you hungry during the game, but
right, you might go up to the stands and ask somebody for
for
food or something. But it's just
get a hot dog like Mark Sanchez did against the Raiders,
right?
Right. But I don't think that gave him an advantage on the field because he was smoking. You know what I mean?
It's just a stigma, man. It's a stigma. Like, if you as an organization, you don't want your employees doing it, that's your right. That's your business to put that mandate down, as the NFL has did, over the decades. But people are gonna find ways to do it regardless if they want to.
Yep.
So, that's just the way it is.
I agree, brother. Well, Barry, man, I appreciate you coming on, man. You guys can check out his show. He drops it every Friday, right? Is that right? Friday?
Well, I record every Friday night, but it's actually out today. I dropped it at I believe I dropped it like around 9:30 or so. So it's out right now. You can go to All Even Podcasts on YouTube. Check that out. It's on all streaming platforms. You can check that out on the Grid's streaming, Grid network. We're on all streaming platforms. So this show will be on there. My show will be on there. Bryson Carver, Patrick, we have such great content creators. So definitely check us out there.
I appreciate you, man, hopping on, and thank you again. He's the co-founder of the Grid Network. Great friend of mine. He's all the way in New York. I'm all the way in Las Vegas, and we met doing what we're doing now, and it's been developed into a great friendship, and I appreciate him, man. So thanks, Barry, for coming on, brother.
Appreciate you, my guy. Anytime, man.
All right. Okay. Oops, sorry. Let's get back to this real quick before I get up out of here. So Barry Grant, man, came on. Appreciate him for coming on, man. Great guy. I've known him a couple of years now. So, but that's what we do here at the Grid, man. It's a family affair. We appreciate everyone's support out there. Let's read some last minute comments before we roll up out of here real quick. Patrick says Kirk Cousins fleeced the Vikings. His primetime record speaks for itself. I believe they'll move on after the season. Kirk Cousins, man, he's he gets paid, man. He was franchise tag like 3 times, I believe, in Washington. So we'll see if he can finesse himself another contract here with the Vikings. We'll have to wait and see. But that's going to be an interesting topic. And then Patrick says, to listen to former players say they drink shots before games, what Le'Veon Bell said was no surprise. Oh, yeah, of course. Yeah, Le'Veon, again, I'm not surprised that he smoked. He just seems like a guy that does that. So I'm not even tripping on that. Kicks and Sticks, he says, laugh out loud, butt fumble Sanchez. And he says, great pod. Yeah, I appreciate you, Kicks and Sticks. And check him out, guys. Kicks and Sticks, he just started up. His show is catered towards sneakerheads and gamer heads. So make sure you guys check that out and help out his show. So my time is done. I want to appreciate everyone thanks everyone that was in the comment section today. Thanks to Barry Grant Jr. from the All Even Podcast for joining the show. We had a great time. I'll be back next week, Sunday. Make sure you guys check me out. 8 a.m. Pacific Standard Time, 11 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. Until then, that's all I got. Like I always say, this is Clutch Sports Talk, NFL Sunday. Wake up with me, your boy Ryan Flowers. Never settle till the work is done. I'm out. God bless you guys. Peace.